Just a friendly reminder before the video begins, you will hear two stories in this video and both have new updates. Now on to the first story. My M27 fiancé's F26 friends are constantly trying to break us up and she won't put a stop to it. I think I've pretty much had enough. My fiancé and I have been together for 3 years and we're engaged to get married this fall. This should be some of the happiest times of our lives, but I just don't know if I can go through with it. When I first met her friends I thought I got along fine with them. But apparently not. Things have only escalated since we've gotten engaged. Here's some of the things I put up with. Her friends telling her she's too young to get married. Her friends telling her I'm too boring for her. Her friends inviting her to girls only nights only to find when she gets there that some of the other girls have their boyfriends with them. Her friends trying to set her up on dates and introducing her to other men, sometimes at these girls only nights. Trying to insinuate to me that she might be cheating on me and I should break up with her. Telling me about sexual things from her past. Honestly, it's completely draining. My fiancé insists that she loves me more than anything else, but she keep putting up with the behavior of her friends and making excuses for them. They've all been friends since they were kids, so I understand her wanting to keep seeing them, but this is crazy. If she's going to keep hanging out with them and letting them interfere with our relationship, I can't imagine that things are going to get better leading up to the wedding or even afterwards. I've never been one to say it's your friends or me, but I think it's way past that point now and I'm ready to call it off if she seriously won't do anything about it. Should I give her another chance to stand up to her friends, or is this just a lost cause at this point? Edit. Lots of good thoughts in the comments. Thank you. She went out last night. I had to work. Wasn't specifically excluded, and will probably be hungover this morning. I'll talk to her later in the day and either update this thread or create an update thread on how things go. More info. I'm sure my girlfriend and her friends vent to each other. I've heard things about guys that the other girls are dating too. Maybe I am the ass. I don't know. Her friends and me are very different people. They still go out to the bars every Friday and Saturday night and usually at least one other night during the week depending on what's going on. I'm more of an outdoors kind of guy as opposed to the bar scene, and we tend to do most of our activities during the day now. But we still go out to the bars a few times a month. If she wants to go more, I'm fine with that. I don't know. Whenever I bring this up, she usually just brushes it off saying things like, they're just kidding around, sometimes they think they're losing a friend and sometimes go a bit overboard, they like you. You're just not as outgoing as my exes. I think you're imagining it, they probably didn't mean it like that, they're just immature, not worry about it. I've asked if there's something I've done and she can't think of any reason. At least something she'll tell me. The biggest thing I can come up with is that they don't seem to like that I'm not into going out to the bars a few times a week. Now, one of the things that prompted this post is that at a party one of her friends did a remember that one time and mentioned a drunken hookup she had from back then. My fiancé was really embarrassed that it was brought up in front of me but didn't really seem to confront her friends about it. I shrugged it off since I did the same shit in college. Still, I thought it was pretty rude to bring that up in front of me. Who does that? I'll be talking to my fiancé later today and I'll see what we can agree on. I'm marrying her, not her friends, but if they're going to continue to be a constant irritation, it's going to be a drag on our marriage I can't see putting me up with forever. We'll just have to get to the bottom of it before the wedding will happen, considering I'm so at the walking away point right now. Update. My M27 fiancé's F26 friends are constantly trying to break us up and she won't put a stop to it. I think I've pretty much had enough. No cheating and DNA testing proves we're both who we say we are. We talked quite a bit over the weekend about this whole thing. She'd like to get it resolved as much as I would. So it pretty much comes down to this. Her friends think I'm an ass. They think I'm rude. And they think I talk down to them like I think I'm better than them. I asked my fiancé if she thought that's true. She said around other people, no. But around her friends, yes. I had to counter that I might be that way since they're always trying to break us up. She understands that, but for now, she wants me to just hold my tongue and not start insulting them if they get bitchy, and she'll take care of it. If that's the only side they see of me, it's hard for her to change their minds. I'm going to work on that. We talked about her friends thinking she's too young. She disagrees and says she's ready. We talked about her friends thinking I'm too boring. She disagrees with that as well. We just do different things than they like. My fiancé and I do a lot of outdoor activities, hiking, mountain biking, running, swimming, rock climbing. Her friends like the club scene better. She admits she wasn't really into the outdoor stuff at first, but loves it now. We talked about her friends implying she was cheating. She said that was supposed to be a joke, but it came out poorly. They were trying to tease me about a night when she bumped into an ex at the club, but it didn't come out right. She asked me how I'd react if my friend said the exact same thing to me. I agreed I'd laugh it off, but it's different coming from people I don't trust. She agreed that it was out of line for them to try and set her up with someone, but she put a stop to it long ago. Other things she thinks I'm taking out of context or blowing out of proportion, but she doesn't say I'm wrong and understands me feeling that way considering who the comments are coming from. She admits she has overshared and vented our problems to her friends, which probably hasn't helped their perception of me. She apologized to me for that. I'm not going to recap an entire weekend's worth of conversations, but we covered everything. She talked to a bunch of her friends and at least a couple of them seem receptive to a ceasefire between us. She's arranged an escape room night with me, her and 2 of the receptive friends next weekend. She thought it might be a fun middle ground. It's not an outdoors thing. And it's not a club. We'll see how we all get along. I don't think this is going to be fixed quickly, but we're willing to try. Final update. My, M27, fiancé's, F26, friends are constantly trying to break us up and she won't put a stop to it. I think I've pretty much had enough. Probably my last update on this situation before I delete this throwaway. I know a lot of you are saying that my fiancé is choosing her friends over me, or that she's not taking responsibility, or that she's putting it all on me. I get what you're saying, I really do. But she is trying. She hates making waves, wants everyone to be happy and is trying to please everyone, but that strategy just doesn't work. It's hard for her to stick up for herself, but she's trying. I can tell she is. As long as she's trying, I'll try. So anyway, in case anyone is interested in our escape night. It was okay. Not great, not miserable, but okay. I think I can compare it to some corporate team building exercise with co-workers you really don't like. Sure, you can have fun doing it and maybe even get along with them for a while, but at the end of the day you're really not interested in being friends with them outside of work. That's how this whole thing felt. The escape room itself was fun. We solved the room with just under 10 minutes left. Certainly not a record-breaking time. But the main thing is we got out. No real conflict. We all stayed pretty chill. The 4 of us did dinner together afterwards and talked for a while. Again, it was fine. Her friends and I don't have much in common, so there's not a lot to talk about, so we discussed some of the puzzles from the escape room before moving on to our upcoming wedding. The main thing is that the beer was cold and the food was warm, so I was happy. My fiancée was pretty pleased about how the night went. I guess it went as good as it could. Her friends and I spent a few hours together and didn't fight or insult each other, so that's a win. I don't see any of us becoming good friends, but maybe being civil to each other is the first step and maybe the best we can hope for. I didn't want to rain on her parade, but I did remind her it was just one night. You could say I'm still pretty skeptical about the whole thing, but I guess we'll wait and see. I asked my fiancée what's going to happen if her friends don't stop interfering in our lives, and she said she'd need to start dropping bridesmaids. I'll guess we'll see about that too. Anyway, all I know is neither of us wants this drama to continue, and since it looks like my fiancée is finally taking steps to put her foot down and stand up for herself and us, I'll stand with her too. Now on to the next story. Story 2. My adoptive parents lied to me and my birth mom about the conditions of my adoption and hid family heirlooms from me. Advice wanted. Not sure if this belongs in this sub, but I really need advice. A bit of backstory first. I, 25, have a younger brother, 23, and we were both adopted from birth from separate birth parents. My parents tried to have children of their own, but after 3 attempts were unsuccessful and went the route of adoption instead. We found out when we were young that we were adopted, but we weren't concerned with learning about our birth families at the time. So we didn't push for information. As we've grown older, I've become more interested in my history and heritage, but haven't questioned my adoptive parents about it because I was concerned it would hurt their feelings. I have never gotten along super well with my adoptive parents, and since I've come out as a member of the LGBT community, our relationship has become a lot more strained. My relationship with my brother isn't much better, as he physically and emotionally abused me through our childhood, which my parents didn't stop or punish. Within the last few years, I, 25, discovered that I have a half-sister, and have since opened communication with her and my bio mom, 50. What started as casually talking turned into a discussion about my adoption process, and I've learned some worrying things. According to my bio mom, my adoptive mom swore that I would be adopted into their family as an only child because of their losses and a desire to have just one child to raise. My bio mom wanted to make sure I would be given to parents who were going to take care of me, and used this as a factor. 2 years later, my brother was adopted into the family. It's also been said that I was sent off with a variety of items to show from my family, including several heirlooms, a handmade ring to match my bio mom's, letters from everyone in the family, and a scrapbook with pictures of everyone in the family. She also informed me of some of my family medical history, including that we have a history of depression, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and several other mental illnesses running in the family, all of which I have been diagnosed with at a late stage in my life. I have not seen/heard of any of this stuff existing, and feel that I really could have benefited from knowing my medical history early on so I could get treated right away. I'm really bothered by the fact that after 25 years, I had to hear that this was held from me by my birth mom. If I hadn't reconnected with her, I don't think I'd ever have found out. I want to know what happened to these belongings, and why this was hidden from me, but I don't know how to begin asking about it. My brother was told early on that his bio parents wanted nothing to do with him, and although we never got along, I'm not going to spit in his face by straight up asking in front of him. I have a feeling that he has at least a small part in why it was hidden. I'm not saying that it was his fault. of course, but that he was just a factor. Since he would have wondered why he never got anything from his bio family, but I did. My brother and I have honestly gotten a lot closer since we've left our parents' house, and I try not to hold anything against him for past mistakes, so I don't want to accidentally hurt him while asking about this. I'm really confused, and this is eating away at me. Please, if anyone has any suggestions for me, I'm open to hearing them. I have an appointment with my therapist and plan to talk to her, but that's not for several weeks, and I could really use advice from a third party. Thanks. Edit. I know there's a good chance that my adoptive parents are likely lying to my brother as well, and I'm trying to come up with good ways to open up the discussion with him. I just don't want to say anything to him that might hurt him unintentionally or close him off to the ideas of bringing it up with our adoptive parents. Small update. I asked my brother if he would be interested in doing a DNA test, like 23andMe, with me to open up a conversation about things, and he agreed, so it's just a matter of figuring out when. I'll post a better update once I have a talk with him. Update: my adoptive parents lied to me and my birth mom about the conditions of my adoption and hid family heirlooms from me. In short, I, 25, have recently been in contact with my biological mother, 50s, and half-sister, 21. I was adopted at birth because my bio mom didn't have the money to take care of me at the time. As we've gotten to know each other, she told me about various items, such as photos, letters, gifts, and family heirlooms that she had gifted me before I was adopted. Needless to say, I never received these items, which really hurt. I ended up asking my adoptive mom, 58, about it when I went to visit her and my adoptive dad, 65, for Christmas. It went about as well as expected. She started off by claiming she had no idea what I was talking about, and that she didn't remember anything being sent with me. Luckily, my bio mom had a picture of the gift basket she had sent as well as details of other items she'd sent over the years, and I had taken a picture of it. When I showed her the picture, she proceeded to say that she had no idea where it would be and that it was probably misplaced or lost when we moved homes when I was younger. Everything was probably gone by now. I told her that I had located or recognized a few of the items in the basket, such as a couple of stuffed animals and a Bible for kids, which she had passed off as coming from other relatives when I was little. For example, a teddy bear that was in the basket came from my maternal grandmother, not my bio mom. The piece that I really wanted was a beautiful scrapbook that my bio mom had made for me, which I begged her to find. She claimed she had no idea where it would be, but I'm convinced that this is a lie. The reason I believe that is because I have recently come out as non-binary and have since changed my name, which my adoptive parents have only recently accepted. She found the book in a box with a bunch of other baby stuff that was labeled with my chosen name, meaning that she's known where it was and didn't plan on sharing it with me. She finally ended up saying that the reason she didn't give me the stuff and say who it was from was because of my brother. He was adopted from a different family, and his mother made it clear that she wanted nothing to do with him, which our adoptive parents told us both about early on. Apparently, he'd constantly scope out the house looking for things from his bio family, which I don't really believe, which was why they hid my stuff. She also claimed that because I never asked about my bio family, she assumed I didn't care about it and wouldn't have wanted to know. However, I would have loved to know more about my bio family, but I felt that asking would be a slap to the face for them, so I never did. Considering my mom's reactions to me questioning her lies, I'd say that was a fair assumption. She kept insisting that she'd never intentionally lie to me or hide things from me, even though that's exactly what she did. For years. There is still a lot of new information. I'm learning more and more things that they've been lying to me about, but that's another story. I am frustrated and beginning to accept that my parents hid the items from me to make it seem as though my own adoptive mother didn't want me. After all, my brother's parents didn't want him, so I couldn't have been wanted, either. In order to keep me from asking questions about my bio family, they had to pretend that they didn't exist in the first place. I don't know where to go from here. There are still things from my past that are missing, such as a jewelry set that my bio mom had gifted me to match her own set, as well as other pieces of information that I know they kept secret from me. I am just so tired. Any advice would be extremely helpful. Edit. Thanks to everyone who's gifted awards and sent kind comments my way. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to cover a couple of things that a few people have asked me about. To start, yes, I do have a therapist who knows the situation and she has been helping me work through my emotions, but it's still very stressful and difficult to deal with. I've still got a ways to go before I've figured things out. For those who mention that the gifts I've been given are just objects that I shouldn't get attached to, I get what you're saying, but that isn't really the point. Yes, it hurts that they've kept these things from me, but the real problem is the decades of lying and secret keeping that they've committed. I can live without the items, but knowing that they were so capable of lying right to my face is what hurts the most. I am going to continue forging my relationship with my bio family, but I can't really cut contact with my adoptive family right now. My mom is currently on my home's lease. It's complicated, but she is helping me pay for my apartment, and can't exactly cut contact with her or my father for that reason. I'm just trying to limit contact when possible, though it's difficult.